How's it going, everybody? I'm the BTC Reaper, and my goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading, whether price is going up or down. Price for Bitcoin ETFs heats up as SEC issues deadline. So the site scrolls a little slow. The regulator has fixed the 29th of December as the deadline for submitting final changes for respective filings, according to a Fox Business journalist, learntotrade. Turret quoted the SEC as saying the firms missing this cutoff date won't be considered for their first wave. So the SEC has mentioned that they want to approve everyone more together. They don't want to pick favorites. The joint proposal from ARK and 21 Shares is due by the 10th of January, and the GBTC conversion into an ETF is due by the 25th of January. But we'll likely see these done together if they're not trying to pick favorites. Popular on-chain analytics firm CryptoQuant earlier predicted that capital inflows of $155 billion into Bitcoin market cap upon the clearance of these ETFs. That means Bitcoin could hit anywhere between 50 to 73,000 if we saw that kind of inflow. So that would be positive for Bitcoin. Overall in total, remember this is everything but Bitcoin and Ethereum. We are continuing forward away from this channel, so I am going to delete it, and it is invalidated. Momentum does want to come down though, stochastic does still want to come down. VWAP is weak, and the money flow is in danger of weakening if the VWAP breaks into the bearish territory. So while we're continuing up, some of our indicators look like they want to start to drop down. So I would just exercise caution. Over on Bitcoin dominance, we are down for the 5th day in a row below that value area high. There is high likelihood we should retrace sometime soon, otherwise we're likely going to give volatile move back up, which would mean dominance would increase, people would be buying more Bitcoin. That would be more in line with people selling at the end of the year, dominance slides. Then people buy at the beginning of the year, dominance increases. RSI is coming down, stochastic's coming down, money flows in the bearish territory, VWAP's in bearish territory, momentum is pretty beat down, our money flow is pretty beat down here. So if our VWAP does break through the neutral, we could see this dominance start to increase. I would watch if we can break above that value area high. If we can break above the value area high, we would need to break above this like 54, 55 area. If we cannot hold above 54, 55, then it's likely dominance wouldn't continue to push forward. If we zoom out, if you're interested in like previous bull market, dominance was way up here. So during the last bull market, when we were at about 60K, we were at about 72% and 66% when we were at about 60K. So if anyone was interested on that, Bitcoin futures is trying to kind of pull back a little bit. We do have a little bit of a long upper shadow as we have a very small body and a pretty decent push. We tried to push up to our resistance, but we're coming and pulling back down. If we continue to pull back down, there would be a possibility of this breaking us to the downside, breaking this channel, meaning futures would roll over. We would reject 44K. We did try to come above 44K, try to go toward 45, nearly got rejected, came back down. This is the 3rd time in a row. We did get rejected back here as well. So we're having issues getting past this zone. If we don't start seeing some green candles here, there's a high probability we will fill that 80% gap. Real quick, if you are newer to the channel, we have Market Cypher B edits on Market Cypher A free version. This is on TradingView, it is free. Our RSI is the relative strength index, is curling down, meaning it's losing strength. Our stochastic is this double line. When it's below 30 like it currently is, just below that 30, fighting for that bullish bearish area. That 30 is the RSI and the stochastic's neutral. If stochastic pulls back here and goes under 30, it will have bearish pressure, meaning selling pressure. If it can bounce and push above 30 here, we would have bullish pressure, meaning buying pressure. Our momentum is this blue wave. Our momentum does want to push forward, but it has a red dot as our yellow wave, the VWAP here, is curling under that neutral. For the momentum, money flow, and VWAP, our neutral is 0. Money flow is this green, sometimes red wave. It's green when it's bullish, red when it's bearish. Our VWAP is getting a lower high. We have a higher high back here and a lower high here. If we break for a lower or consistent low, we could see price action snap down, invalidate this bullish possibility, and fill that gap. Over on Bitcoin for the daily, we are trying to push back up, so we have this support line we left there. RSI wants to head down, momentum's coming down, stochastic's pushing forward, money flow's coming down. VWAP wants to round away from that neutral, so if the VWAP continues to round here, momentum will continue to push down, and the money flow will continue to come out, meaning we will have longer-term selling pressure rather than short-term selling pressure. On the 4-hour here, we could have a bit of a flag. Use the parallel channel this time as it's easier to draw, if you can draw it straight. So there's our channel, then our flag possibility would be back here. So we do have this possibility still. That would be a freak break down and then a break back in. We did have this support resistance from the previous flag. I will delete that. We are still using that as a support resistance. That's why your support resistances, when they have multiple candle bodies and wicks, they are a stronger area for price action to either reject or push from. Stochastic wants to round away here on the 4-hour. RSI wants to come down. VWAP's rolling away. Money flow wants to come down. Momentum is pushing forward. But if that VWAP rolls over, momentum will push down. Over on the 2-hour, we do have a reversal arrow, so I would watch out. This could be a cup and handle, so that would be a bullish possibility. It wouldn't be a very strong break up, but would push us out of this channel very slightly. That reversal arrow could signal that when we came down, that wasn't going to last, and now we are going to continue forward as we are getting green candles. Just watch out for that long upper shadow. Stochastic is pretty overbought. RSI is trying to head up. Momentum is coming up. The VWAP is in the bullish territory, but it's starting to get lower highs. So if it breaks toward the bearish territory, we may see that money flow start to flip. Over on the 1-hour, stochastic is starting to round away. We are getting a bearish divergence on stochastic, where our stochastic is getting lower highs and our price is staying the same. Momentum is doing the same. VWAP wants to come down. Money flow is coming out. So I would watch the 1-hour. It is in danger of flipping into bearish territory here. If we flip into the bearish territory here, then we could see a pullback down and we may see lower price action. Remember, this double top could bring us lower. Over on graph for the daily, we are trying to invalidate this pattern. We invalidated that double top. I will delete that breakdown if I can get the line. We are trying to continue away from this rising channel. So we are looking pretty positive. Stochastic is pushing forward. RSI wants to head forward. Momentum's pretty overbought right now. It could take a little bit of a cool off, stay within this range, but I would just watch it. VWAP does want to come down. If that VWAP favors the bearish territory, that's where our momentum will lose strength. Right here you can see we were bullish. Right here we favored bearish territory, momentum came out. Momentum dictates money flow, so that momentum did sustain bullish momentum, and the money flow didn't really change much. But when the momentum starts to come down, that money flow will come down with it. Over on the 4-hour, RSI wants to curl out. Stochastic is starting to round away. Momentum is pushing forward. It had bearish divergence, but it wants to continue despite that. VWAP is pushing above the bullish territory, continuing forward. Money flow wants to head forward, so we do look decent for a continued move up as long as our money flow does sustain green. Remember, green money flow means a bullish trend. Momentum does want to push forward here on the 2-hour. We do have bearish divergence though, so watch out for that. Stochastic has bearish divergence. Money flow does look like it could round away. VWAP is starting to round away, so if that VWAP picks up some bearish strength and favors the bearish territory, we could see the 2-hour give up some strength then. which would weaken the 4 hour, but I would just keep an eye on how the 1 and 2 hour are looking. The 1 hour did go into bearish territory, made it bounce, and pulled back into the bullish territory. If we can sustain this bullish momentum, we will see price action continue forward. Stochastic does want to round, so just keep an eye on that. Momentum does want to round. RSI is trying to push forward, but if the stochastic drops off here, the RSI will drop as well. VWAP is starting to get lower highs, so if we continue with lower highs and get lower lows, we could see the VWAP flip into the bearish territory, which would result in the money flow starting to weaken as that momentum comes down. Over on Anchor for the daily, we did break away from our channel as well. So again, watch for confirmation. If we get a green candle, we could call this invalidated, much like graphs. Stochastic does want to round away. We have a double red dot momentum. RSI has a red dot. VWAP's breaking into the bearish territory, and the money flow does want to come down, so I would just watch things. If this VWAP continues down and favors the bearish territory here, we could see this bullish momentum start to get wavered away and retrace these gains. Over on the 4 hour, we are still in somewhat of a rising channel, even though we're trying to break out of the one we have drawn. Stochastic wants to push down. RSI is pretty flat. Momentum's overall starting to lose strength as that VWAP's starting to get more bearish momentum. We have lower lows and lower highs currently, so if we reject away, pull under, and get a stronger low on this VWAP, it's likely the bears will gain control. But that would be dependent on how the 2 and 1 hour look. Remember, that's why we cover the lower time frames, because they will help dictate the higher time frames. On the 2 hour, RSI wants to come down. Stochastic is trying to push forward, so the RSI could rebound if the stochastic continues forward. Our momentum wants to push down, but the VWAP is pushing back into bullish territory. If that VWAP can favor the bullish territory here and continue forward, our money flow will push forward and momentum will continue, and then we will sustain bullish momentum and try to continue to that 34.85 support resistance area. Over on the 1 hour, RSI wants to curl away. RSI is starting to come down with that stochastic. Momentum wants to round away. VWAP starting to round away. Money flow is coming out, so I would watch that VWAP closely. We do have consistent highs, but we're getting lower lows. If we start to get consistent lows and then make lower highs, we could see the bears take over, bring us back into the channel, and pull us under. Over on XRP for the daily, we did invalidate this head and shoulders. That's why it's important to pay attention to how the lower time frames are looking and how the money flow is looking. The money flow was still strong in the bullish territory, so that meant we still had bullish strength here. It wasn't red. If it was red and we had that head and shoulders, it would have a higher probability of breaking down. So remember, that's why there's no crystal ball in trading. VWAP is pushing forward, we're getting higher highs, money flow is sustaining, momentum is pushing forward, stochastic's pushing forward, but the RSI wants to come down. If the stochastic cannot continue to push forward, the RSI may start to roll away here. And then we would have lower highs. If we do start to round away, we would have a lower high here, lower high here, lower high here, and that could start to make a descending triangle if we're not careful. We'd have to call that a freak breakout. Let's see, right about there. Clean this up real quick. Now, descending triangle does just as it says, and it makes price break down. One this big would not be a very good breakdown, as that would push us to around 49 cents. So we're right back at that 48 cent, guys, possibility coming true. So over on the 4 hour, stochastic is pushing up. Price action is trying to continue forward, where you kind of zigzag, then push forward, then zigzag, then push forward. If this can continue, we may see price action continue out and invalidate this pattern. Momentum wants to round away though. VWAP is starting to come down. Money flow is starting to come down. So if that VWAP breaks into the bearish territory and we start to continue to pull back from here, we may see the bears gain control. Over on the 2-hour, money flow is well into the bullish territory, but VWAP starting to get lower highs and wants to round away, so I would watch that VWAP closely. Momentum does want to come down, stochastic wants to round, and RSI is starting to head down. If this VWAP starts to favor the bearish territory, we could see the trend start to reverse and price action start to come down. Over on the 1-hour, RSI is sharply pointing down, stochastic wants to round away, momentum starting to push down, VWAP's breaking into the bearish territory, and the money flow is starting to round out. So I would watch. This VWAP does have lower highs. If it continues for lower lows, we could see the bears gain control and push price lower, so just keep an eye out for that. Remember, if the money flow sustains in the bullish territory, we could still see another freak break up, especially with all the ETF hype. Over on Algo for the daily, last but not least, momentum is pushing down, stochastic's pushing down, we have bearish divergence on both, RSI is coming down, VWAP has broken into the bearish territory, so I would just watch things. If we start to push down from here, remember we could fall into that golden pocket. We did get a pretty decent bounce after trying to come into the golden pocket. RSI is pretty flat, but overall coming down, stochastic wants to lose some strength, so I would watch out as it just get above that 30. If it breaks this 30 and continues down, the RSI is likely going to follow. VWAP is struggling to maintain strong bullish momentum. If that VWAP rounds out here, we will see the money flow and momentum start to round away as well, possibly falling into the bearish territory and bringing price down with them. Stochastic does want to round on the 2-hour with the RSI. Money flow is in the bullish territory, VWAP's in the bullish territory, but starting to get lower highs, so I would watch out for our lower highs and lower lows, as we could have a bearish trend start to form if that happens. Our money flow is in the bullish territory though, so that does have strength and the possibility to help push us forward if that sustains. If this 1-hour money flow flips into the bearish territory with the VWAP and momentum here, then we may see the other time frames start to weaken and a push to the downside. Stochastic wants to round, RSI wants to round, so I would watch the next couple candles. If we start to see strong red candles from here, it's likely we would round out, push into that golden pocket, see the manipulation pull us under, and possibly break even lower. Thank you for watching tonight's video. I hope you have a wonderful night.